Hello, MasterMind, Brave Maker members. Good morning, good afternoon. Those of you who are with us live, we got people on the West Coast and the East Coast today. If you're watching on the replay, this is our session number 46, quickly coming up on our year anniversary here. It is April 14th. Is that right? April 14th, right? Yeah, 2025. And it is Monday. I am uh, Tony Gapasone, and I am coming from Redwood City today, California. I am at my home office. I'm slowly beginning to pull stuff from our Redwood City studio to my home space because I don't know where we're going yet. So we have still like 3 weeks left to find our new studio or office space. So anybody who has any places, I'm just gonna keep putting that out there as a reminder. Our next Brave Maker meetup that is included in your membership is Thursday, May 1st in Redwood City. So just make sure you mark your calendar on that. And don't forget that's included in your membership. And the final thing I'll say before we jump in is we want to encourage you to bring a fellow creative person, a maker of any kind. So, you can offer free audits to your friends. They can come one time, check out what we're doing, and consider becoming a member. And I am just joining myself another kind of networking group for business owners so that I can try to find ways I can pay my bill with filmmaking and video, corporate stuff. And you guys, there are so many things out there that you can do, like what we're doing here, that I feel so proud of what we're doing at an affordable level. Like I'm joining something right now that basically is going to cost me $1,500 a year, but the whole idea is, that's going to pay off with referrals and new business opportunities for me to do corporate videos. So keep that in mind. 125 a month is what our people are paying. You get a free mixer, you get these connections, and I really want us to be thinking, and I'm trying to think as well, how we can make sure we are referring one another to gigs. I know Stacy hired Daniel from the MasterMind to edit a project that she was working on. So be thinking about referring each other. Commenting on each other's social media really does go a long way to keeping each other encouraged. I know Dashel just made a short film. So Dashel, if you have your day 21 short film link and you want to put that in the comments, please do it. We can watch it at the end of our session today, since we're talking about short filmmaking. Okay, so let's bring up Tamika Lamison, who is a part of MasterMind and who is going to be our spotlight guest today because she's got a lot to teach us about short filmmaking. And, I think it's really cool that we met not even a year ago when she was selected to be a filmmaker for the 2024 Film Festival in July last year with Superman Doesn't Steal. We all loved it. Then she was also selected to be one of our pitchers at our pitch contest, and she won the grand prize, which got her a year of MasterMind, which is something we'll do again this year too. And then we've just been able to have some really cool connections and watching her go all across the globe with this short film. So today we're going to chat about what she's learned about making this short film called Superman Doesn't Steal. So welcome. You get to be the spotlight person today, Mika.
Yeah.
Becca
Yay.
says that your film was her favorite from the festival, which is kind of cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was just telling Tony how much I love the Brave Maker community, and it's definitely one of my favorite festivals. Y'all know why. We'll talk about that. Um, and I'm just gonna start off with bringing up, it's just sort of an agenda that we can talk through, and feel free to jump in and ask questions all along the way. Let's see here. We'll do that, and everyone can see that. So yeah, I'm just gonna start with I think the first thing that people ask about to me these days is like, how are you going to all these festivals? How did you fund for it? It costs so much money. You have to pay for, to send your film in, all of the things. So, you know, this is something that really you should be thinking about when you're uh thinking about making a short film and going on the festival circuit. So I for Faith by Fire, which is the one that I actually pitched to Bravemaker for their pitchathon, I'm going to make sure to crowdfund specifically also for the festival game when that film is complete because I wasn't thinking about it that way when I raised money for the film. I was only raising money for my short film, and then I realized when we started applying to festivals, I needed to have that as a line item and actually money for marketing and the festivals. I was lucky enough to get an executive producer who specifically gave us money for the festival run. He gave us $15,000. Now he's a long-term friend. I know you can make a whole short film for that, right? I mean, he gave us he's a friend for a long time. He supported a lot of things that I've done. And so we gave him EP credit. We actually included in that $15,000, we had to go back in and edit his credit in as well. And so that's kind of how we've been able to do that. And then the other part to that is I have a friend who these are very unique to I guess to our to my specific journey. One of my friends works for Delta. And she listed me as her person and she also worked on the film, but she listed me as her person for like a year. I think it ends on this July, so it was like a year and a half. She has a boyfriend now, so I'm getting kicked off her list. But basically, that's how I've been able to travel all over the festival circuit with my film. And then, of course, crowdfunding. Um, Anybody have any questions about that? Anything you want to know in addition to that? Any thoughts? Okay, so I'll just keep going then. Oh, yes, Gwen.
Tamika, yeah, go ahead, Gwen. We'll bring you in here.
Your thing about the friend at Delta made me think about, I can't remember if it's possible for people to donate miles
It
to
is.
a nonprofit. So if that's the case, then yeah, that would be an interesting one I hadn't thought of before.
Yeah, I would
Yes.
say definitely add that into your asks. Bravemaker does that a lot. Like if you have miles, and we have had that occasionally, but not as much as we could. But that's something that when you said that to me, I was like, yeah, people, you're asking for money, 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 but there are other things you can be asking for that are like the in-kind donations and miles. Some people have so many and they just never use them. So that's a great one.
Yeah. Miles is great, absolutely. And people can and you can give them some sort, a special thank you or whatever. List them in the film however you'd like. And I'm sure they would appreciate that. Miles is a good one. So when I went into this, I knew that there were two possible avenues for my festival strategy. One is, of course, the big five go, targeting Sundance, Toronto, Berlin, Cannes, Venice. Those are what, are generally accepted as the big five, but I add in South by Southwest and Tribeca. And because of when we shot our film, really those were off the table because we finished principal photography 2 days before the Sundance deadline, so there was no way we were going to get a cut that was, viable within 2 days. So I immediately started thinking I was going to do smaller festivals targeted to my film. So because it's a film about a Black family and it's got kids in it. I knew, and I'm a woman and a Black woman. I knew I was going to target a lot of the Black film festivals, the women-centric festivals, the kids film festivals, all of the Oscar qualifying festivals. Because if you go on Film Freeway, it lists all of those things. I know a lot of you already know this. It lists all of those for you. So I knew I was going to target all of those festivals, which is already a huge list. Then I wanted to target all of the festivals that are listed under the 100 best film festivals. And then I wanted to target all of the festivals that had some sort of social, flavor to it, social impact type. That's how I found Bravemaker actually. And I wanted to target festivals like that. And I found that to be an incredible strategy because what was really helpful about that, one, I didn't want to wait. Like, I knew we were going to miss the Sundance deadline, really. The next one for the big one was Tribeca. That would have meant waiting 6 months to start my festival journey. And I was definitely not going to do that to maybe get into one of those festivals. Um, okay, okay. Shh. We got the dogs joining us today. So yeah, so I didn't want to wait. So I knew I was going to uh hit all of those other festivals and not really, you know, I still let's just put it this way. I did apply to those other festivals, but I just on principle, but I was pretty clear I wasn't going to get in them because most of them want premieres still. So I was cool with that. Um so any questions about the festival strategy? I premiered at Pan African Film Festival, which was a festival that I had a lot of history with. So I was fairly certain that I was going to get in that festival. So that was also a good thing. And I had a huge community in LA and a huge community in that festival. So I felt like that was a good one energetically for me to premiere at. So I would say if you're going to do the smaller sort of targeted festival route, maybe choose one that you know is going to offer you some additional sort of support community-wise, love-wise. You can get all your people there. So that's kind of why I chose Pan-African.
Tamika, based
Any questions?
on the chronology of this, when you finished principal photography, what was the date? When you locked picture or finished the project and started submitting, when was that? And when was the premiere at Pan African?
So we finished principal photography on August 24th or 25th. We finished the cut on December 23rd. This is 2023, December 23rd. And I would suggest if you do finish your principal for your film close to the end of that year, when you're editing, um, put 2024 on it, not 2023. Because if you finish close to the end of the year, if you put 2023, it's going to age your film quicker. And some will cut it, you won't be able to submit to certain things, which is weird because it's almost like 2024 because it was the end of the year, but it's still some things they won't let you submit to. It's very strange. So be cognizant of that and as well. But we premiered in February of 2024. So we basically premiered about a month and a half later. I will say what was great about that is they let us submit a rough cut because obviously their deadline was around the same time as well. And then they let us submit. And I wrote to them and said, please let us submit the finished cut. So they allowed me to do that, which was
That,
great.
that's great. So you premiered 2024 Pan African Film Fest, first screening. And that's LA, which is a great fest. We
Yeah.
had our short, Sweet Santa Barbara Brown there as well. I like that festival.
Yeah. Yeah.
And can you talk real quick about the relationship and developing that? Because I think that is really, really important. You're in touch with them. You're asking about a rough cut. Some festivals will say it's okay to do it. Some are like, don't do it. I think it's very subjective. But do you have people, your go-to people there that you can name? Like, I know this person, that person. Talk about that building of relationship with them in order to get that premiere.
Yeah, well, I've been attending the Pan African for over 15 years, and I also have been a juror with them. So I really had like, and I know the festival, the people who created the festival, the programmers. So I really had a very, very solid in with them. So that's why I was pretty sure I would get in. But the truth is, that's still not always the case because there are other festivals I was super disappointed in that I didn't get in that I have been supporting for years and I knew the people and they knew about the film and I attended some of their panels and I still didn't get in and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So it's sort of like there's never it's never like a gimme. It just never is. And so you do what you can, and then sometimes the politics work for you, and you're in, and sometimes it's just the festival game. That's why I call it the festival game. Um, so yeah, but I actually wrote to everybody that I knew there. I knew the guy who was doing the marketing and promotions, and I knew the people who started the festival, and yeah, and I also wrote to the woman who is head of the jurors and said, "Who should I? This is what I'm doing. Who should I be, asking about this? Because I want everybody to, I want to give myself the best opportunity. And I also didn't want them to think that I was assuming that I would get in based on my relationship."
Cool. I'll just say one thing before you move on. I think that, like, again, there's no right way to do it, but having those real authentic connections and not assuming or demanding um, or not just popping up when you want something. I hear you saying you went to the festival for years. You were a juror. You had this relationship. That's really, really important. And I get it. People are busy. I have had, even this past week, an email that just said, "Dear Sir, I don't have money for the festival submission. Could I get it free?" I'm like, you don't even know our name or my name, and you're asking for something for free. Doesn't feel great. We don't respond to that kind of stuff. And then there's the filmmakers sometimes who, I was a part of your film festival 2 years ago. Could I get a discount or could I get a waiver? And we haven't heard from them in 2 years. And it kind of feels like that too isn't that great. So it just goes a long way to stay connected throughout the years and not just when it's your time or when it's convenient. That is really like it's like friendship, it really is a two-way street. And sometimes that'll go a long way. So kudos to you for doing that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Cultivating the relationships is super, super important. Um, which goes to your network, using your network to get recommendations and connections. I always write cover letters. They give you a little block on Film Freeway where you can write a little cover letter. So definitely use that. I don't know if they read those. Probably some do, some don't. But if you can actually, as Tony suggested, get a name of a programmer and actually send an additional cover letter direct through your email, letting them know that you submitted and how excited you are, and maybe something very specific about why you want to be screening in that festival. That goes a long way as well, especially maybe somebody that you knew screened there and said great things. All of that stuff goes a long way.
Tamika, are you okay if we quickly show what that looks like from your profile? Because I think it is important. I know we've done this before here, or at least we've done it on our Tuesday team, but there are people who submit their films and they don't fill any of this information out. And it feels like
Right.
the person doesn't really care. But this is what we see on our end, right? We see an overview, we see a director biography, we see a director statement, we see, look at project links, stills, and this is all through the portal of Film Freeway, which 90% of film festivals, I don't think Tribeca uses this, but maybe can't, I don't know either. But Sundance uses this, we use it, a lot of film festivals use this, and it's so great. But when I open up a film that doesn't have anything on here, like they're not, crediting their actors, their producers, I'm just wondering, like, wait, what? It just seems like do this extra work because it goes a long way.
Agreed. Yes. And it makes it easier for them. They know that when they ask for the EPK and all of that stuff that you have it because they see a lot of it right there, right? You make their work much easier. Okay, let me go back to, oh no, that's not what I want. Let's
While
go.
you're looking for that, Tamika, Dashel says, how do you choose a film festival that is your film best? And I think you're saying something like that's the best choice for your film festival. And I heard Tamika say earlier that she was Googling festivals with an impact or social justice. There's a lot of great ways you can look and search that up. But Tamika, what would you say?
Um, So I mean, it depends on what you see, what you want your festival journey to be, right? Like, do you, and be honest about your film too, right? Like, I have made films, and I was like, hmm, there are certain festivals that I think might respond to this film or this material or where I am in my film journey, right? So I'm going to maybe submit to those versus some of the other ones that I think um, the competition is going to be different. You know what I mean? So like I felt like this one I could pretty much submit to almost anywhere and depending on what they were doing they could respond favorably. And even if you have a great film, again, the way that festivals work, it may not work for their theme. They may not be able to find a space specifically for that film because they do have like themes sometimes, and they're trying to fit these great films into categories. So if yours maybe not fit into a slot that works for them for that festival, that might be why it's not getting in, not because your film isn't great. I learned that too. But yeah, I went for films that were specific for this film that had was kid oriented because I had kids in it. Films that were black film festivals that were looking for women directors or women centric films, and then what else? And then yeah, the Oscar qualifiers and just small festivals that I thought I'd have a really great chance because some festivals, a lot of people don't submit to the smaller, quaint, interesting, fun festivals, right? So these are great festivals to submit to because they're looking for your great project, right? To to uplift their festival too, right? So that was and I was always so surprised when I went to these festivals. Those are the festivals that they treat you like gold, man. I love it. You know. And they're just so happy to have you there. And sometimes they'll like call and talk to you about your film and anything you need. So you feel really treated super well versus like a number, which, some of the bigger festivals, it kind of feels like that. Um, did that answer your question, Dashel? Okay, great. And then the one thing that I'll say it this way, something I would have done differently is I would have had a publicist earlier, maybe found a young publicist who didn't cost quite so much money, who was looking to sort of continue to make their way in the business because publicists, that's another line item if you can afford it that I would add into as far as the festival, the after, festival part because we were looking to a publicist when we were doing our Oscar campaign and our NAACP campaign, and the amount of money that we were being quoted was insane. Um, we got somebody to do us a favor. This is somebody doing us a favor, and we could only afford a month, and that was $3,000. That was the favor. I was like, oh my God. I had no idea this is how much it cost for a publicist. I don't know how people do it. And then there actually are two or three very specific publicists and PR companies that are known for um, uh, supporting the Oscar campaigns. So those are the ones that they know how to do it. They know how to guide you. The Oscars kind of look for those PR companies because they know that they select really specific films. Um, they're very expensive, but if you can get the money, go for them. But yeah, having a publicist early is super important because you could start getting those online interviews and those online um, news articles and things like that. And also, if you're going to places like your hometown, it's great to have a publicist because they can land you like the local television. They love that stuff. When you have a publicist who can connect and get you on those local TV channels, especially when you're coming from California. know, you know what I mean? Unless you live here. I don't know. If you already live in California, maybe it's not as big of a deal, but I don't know. Maybe if you come from some of the smaller places like Sacramento or whatever, it still is a big deal. But I would do that anyway, try and get that hometown news going. And then social media. This was a learning curve for me, believe it or not. Um, just was not, God, it takes so much energy to create things on social media. I didn't know how to create reels. And then I realized in the middle of the campaigns and stuff that reels is really the best way to go because you can put a lot of stuff in there. It's like a big bang for it packs a punch. The reels pack a punch. You get a lot of eyes on your stuff. So I would definitely recommend doing a lot of reels and posting reels when you go to festivals. Festivals watch to see if you are posting about them. Tag them. You can tag them and ask them to collaborate. That's a new thing. Sometimes they will actually accept your collaboration and repost it and all of that stuff. But collaborate with your team so that your team is also posting because it automatically goes on there. I mean, I guess some of you might already know this. When you collaborate with someone, you tag them and allow them to collaborate, it automatically goes on their timeline. So and they don't have to do anything. It just automatically goes on their timeline. So this is great for your whole crew and your team. Get people to collaborate and support as well. I was doing that with my producers. Um, but the social media is so important. When we started to do our Oscar campaign and our NAACP campaign, what we consistently were hearing was, we already heard about your film. We already saw it on social media. We may, even if they hadn't seen my film, they knew the name because we were constantly posting. Every festival we went to, every time we got accepted, we would post. So that is super, super important. And then if you can get anyone to give you a great quote, especially anyone with some cachet, that's great. Like early in our festival journey, we were at a festival where the Academy Award nominee Ingenue Ellis Taylor was there. She saw the film, so I got to talk to her. We exchanged information, and we ended up being at other festivals together. And so she gave us a quote, about a beautiful quote for our film. And we were able to use that quote in a whole bunch of our articles. We would send it ahead of time and say, you can use this quote for Ingenue, which was great. They love that. They're like, whoa, this is going to make, this is great for our article because you got a Academy Award nominee sort of giving a shout out to the film. So that was really excellent. Um, and then the other thing I would say is when you get there and you're doing your Q&A, like prep yourself for your Q&A. Know exactly what it's almost like having your elevator pitch already about the certain questions that you know they're going to ask you. Prep yourself so you know exactly how you're going to answer those questions. Sometimes they just want to hear from the director, so prepare your team for that. So if your team is in the audience or your producers are in the audience, let them know that, well, this festival just wants the director up there, but I definitely will give you guys a shout out. Know who's going to come up so that nobody's, disappointed in the moment, right? Um, and then, yeah, always thank your team, always thank the festival. Any questions so far about anything that I have said? Okay. Yeah, Gwen.
I'd love to hear about some of the basic questions that you get or things that you will just want to make sure you know you have kind of cold.
Okay, yeah. Well, they always want to know where what inspired the idea. So definitely want to know what inspired the idea. They want to know, and you can tell them this or not, but everyone always wants to know the budget. They want to know what were your challenges. So have one or two of the specific challenges, your little anecdotal stories. Um, they often want to know what would be your advice to someone who is making their film for the first time, or filmmakers who's going in there. They want to get, what advice would you give them? They want to know what would you do differently? Like to do it over, what would you like, sort of also what mistakes did you make that, knowing now you would do differently? And what do you have for the future? What's your next thing? And I talk about that. So one of the things, if you've made a short that you know you want to make as a feature, this is a great opportunity. First of all, hopefully you have that feature completed so you can actually say that, yeah, we have the feature script ready to go. And you can sort of actually throw out there, um, anybody want to jump on board? Talk to me, that kind of thing. And this is something that I actually didn't do that I wish I had done. This is something that can help your film too. So when you're in your Q&A, definitely ask people to go on IMDb and rate your film a 10. This is going to help your film. I always forget to do it, but tell them to go on IMDb and rate your film, right? Rate it a 10. Um, what else? And of course to follow you so you can build your audience. That's always good. Follow you on your social media. What else? Yeah, those are the
Tamika,
basic.
Tamika,
Go
can you
ahead.
talk about just working with the actors and kind of the expectations and hopes of the festival circuit or even just in promotion? Because I will say sometimes, again, I know there's a lot of actors on here. We as filmmakers, writers, directors, producers, we really sometimes don't know how to equip the actors, like there's that media training, how to talk on panels or how to share. Can you talk anything that you learned along the way that was really helpful that these actors who are on this call right now can be learning from you and what they could be doing as they are a part of films in the future or currently?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, my little actors were such pros. They- so I would say always finding something very specific that you loved that your director did or that you loved about the film. Also, what drew you to the material as an actor and what you loved about the material as an actor, right? And then what you learned. These are specific things that I think are always great to share. Um, and your specific process for that specific role, right? And then maybe even something that was different. Like what was different about this process or this project than some of your other projects? What did you have to do differently to prepare even, right? Those are some of the things that that I think. And so Tony, like what are some of the things that you specifically might are talking about? I don't know if I addressed your question exactly. You're on mute.
I think one of the things I'm trying to do is help filmmakers and actors really do that digital networking better because we get so few sometimes. You've had a lot. You've been all the way, to Cannes, and you're from the east to the west coast and all over, which is amazing. So to get that kind of blessing to take your film somewhere, not all actors are going to be flown out. Sometimes the directors aren't. You're getting these opportunities through these film festivals where they're paying for lodging, which is great. That doesn't always happen for the actors. So actors, if you don't get to go to the film festivals because you can't afford it, if you can, definitely do it. You can definitely find ways to ride the wave of a short film, feature film digitally. And it really is like you have to be, if you're not hiring a publicist, you have to be your own PR person. Making reels, like you said, do your own little behind the scenes. While you're on set too, just take a lot of photos, take a lot of videos, and then narrate it. Look at what Gabrielle, you should put what you did as a PA for Clothes Ruin Everything. Link that in the chat. Do little things like that so people can see you as an actor. Because I'll tell you what, if I'm watching the actors in Tamika's film do things like that, that is making them more appealing for me to want to work with and cast because I want those kind of actors attached to my projects too. And if you have actors that are like afraid or maybe don't feel super connected or educated on social media, do a little training or just go make a visit, especially if you're working with older actors that don't have social media. You have to, as a filmmaker, do that work for them because it is so important for people to feel connected to the actors because it helps them care about a project when they see the people on screen doing things that promote the film. Because, Tamika, I'm making an assumption here, but you have done a lot of work here all on your own. You have been hustling your butt to all of these things, paying a lot out of pocket. Yes, you're getting free flights. You're doing all the work because as the writer and director, no one is going to care for it more than you.
Right.
But when you get those actors who level up, I'll tell you what, it just takes that film into another echelon of like value, especially for the length and um the longevity of the film, but also as a film festival person, I'm looking at are those actors going to post when they have a film in our fest, or is it just going to be the filmmaker or the director? It goes a long way to see other people contributing to the success of the film.
I totally agree with that. And I think I love the idea as of an actor of you taking a clip, your favorite clip of your favorite moment and highlighting that yourself and talking about the film. And here's a little bit of me doing this and all of that. And then tagging your director And as a director, always, like I said, tag and collaborate with people because then you're making it a social media community where everyone is getting uplifted. One of the things that I did, people would literally ask, "Are you seriously posting like listing all of your crew on all of your posts every time?" And I pretty much did. Like every time we won anything or got in a festival, so I had a little thing that I would cut and paste and I would add to it, right? So I'd add and just rejig it for the specific festival, but I had a cut and pastable list with the tags of all of my cast and crew, and every time I post I add it in there because then people feel like they're part of the community. I am honoring them. I am honoring their contribution. And I was actually really committed to always saying our film. And I mean, every now and then I might say my film, but I would still say it. I'd say our film, and then maybe I'd say my film or something like that. But even when I was talking to the press, I would often say our film, and then maybe I'd say my film here and there. But it was 90 something percent of the time our film because I wanted everyone to feel included because everyone contributed. And I know that's a little bit it's a little atypical. I've come to find that's a little atypical. But I thought it was really important to do that, so that everyone really could have some ownership of the film. We all did this together. I mean, it is my film, but it's really our film, you know? So that's kind of how I was moving with it. And I once
Tamika,
talked about that's atypical.
Tamika, that is atypical. And I think one theory I have is this is, well, there are a couple of kinds of directors. One that it's like that auteur where everything is like, it's me, it's my brain, it's my imagination. You're all serving my ultimate creative vision here. And there's a place for that. And I get why that is. Like it's a film by Tony Gapson. And then there's the directors who like really see it as collaborative. Like I can't do it without you, right? But I think there's a third echelon where it becomes a little like, and this is where I want to encourage you actors. This is why I think a director like Tamika is going to say our film when they truly feel like they have been supported and they have been invested in by the whole cast and crew. Because there's a difference between a producer who's like, I'm a producer through and through, beginning to end. What do you need, Tamika? I'm here for you. Or a producer who's like, I'm here for production. Peace out. You never hear from them again. And that's really hard. So there's times when I find myself going, I don't feel like it's our film because I don't feel like people really carried it as much as I did. And I want to feel that everybody carried it as much as I did. So, yeah, I think that is a rarity. But actors and crew people, I hope you hear me say that when you are invested into a film, it really does, again, level it up to make it feel like it is ours if you care for it as much as everybody does. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. Does anyone where's okay. Now my okay, great. Any questions about that? I don't have any. If people who wrote and directed and produced it want to just say it's my film, I have no judgment about it at all. This was,
Yeah.
I mean, call it a
Totally.
social experiment if you want. I don't know. It's just how
Yeah,
I
that's great.
roll. I'm a socialist at heart. I don't know what to tell you. I think everyone should be taken care of. Everyone should be supported. Everyone should have what they need. That's kind of how I feel. So, let's see.
Gwen's got a
Uh,
question. Gwen's got a question.
No, I
oh,
was just
she's
applauding Tamika being a socialist. I'm with you.
I love it. I love it. So okay, so the it's interesting. The Oscars and the For Your Consideration is so interesting. So there's two ways to do that, right? So I definitely, if you love your film and you think it's got a possibility, then I say go for it. That's why I say apply to all of the Oscar qualifying festivals. If you win one of those, and let me be specific, you have to win in the jury section, not the audience award. If you win an audience award at an Oscar qualifying festival, it does not qualify you for the Oscars. I learned that the hard way because our very first at the Pan African when we premiered, we won the audience award there, and I was like, "Yay, we're Oscar qualified!" They were like, No, no, you're not. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, it has to be the jury award. And I was like, can we switch? So basically, I was like, oh, right.
That is real, and that is why people are telling us we need to do awards. So that is coming for our future. We have applied for the Oscar qualifying status, but we also cannot have that unless we do awards. So we're in it takes like 3 years to make it happen. So by year 10, hopefully that'll be the case for us. But that's true. Again, those are things that are important. So looking for festivals that do that is a big deal.
Very important. Very important. I won like three or four uh I won in three or four Oscar qualifying festivals, but not in the jury section. I won like best director in one of them. And I was like, are you kidding me? So here's the alternative way of getting your film Oscar qualified if you actually don't win in the jury section or category of an Oscar qualifying festival. You actually can screen for a week in a theater, but it has to be a designated theater that does the Oscar qualifying run, and you can do that. There's two or three in California that do it. I think there's one in San Francisco too, and you pay like 500 or 1,000 or whatever it is, and you'll end up screening with four or five different films. I put together a group of films because I wanted to be very specific about the films that I screened with. I wanted them all to be really great films that I liked and that I wanted to screen with my film. So I asked filmmakers who had been on the circuit about and had films that I really liked to screen in the category with me for a week. So that's how we did our Oscar qualifying, and that's how we got Oscar qualified. They give you a letter at the end of the run, and it's great because you're actually screening in a theater that people can come and see your film and, pay. They give you a little bit, if you can get an audience. It's also great if you can get a film that has a built-in audience or built-in people who are going to come support it as well, right? Because that's only going to help serve you. Um, I think No Right Way. I don't Jacob, do you want to talk a little bit about No Right Way? I don't know No Right Way. What is that?
Sorry, it was a film that Brave Maker that Tony had introduced to Redwood City last year, and they did that as well. I think they were actually running for about I forget if it was 1 week or 2 weeks down in LA, and it's really cool because they had a lot of really great success with that. And I know Gabriele went down to LA to see it, and they did this whole gala and everything. So it's really cool to see what you're saying as a to see it having others done that in real time.
Exactly. Um, yeah, and I Am Not a Robot. So this is an interesting one. I Am Not a Robot played in a lot of different festivals. It didn't just play in big festivals. It played in a lot of smaller festivals. It played in my hometown festival. That's where first saw I'm Not a Robot. It was at the Richmond International Film Festival, which is a smaller festival. Um, So that festival sort of, I think, did both of the things. It did all of the things and it won an Oscar. I kind of knew that was going to be the one to win, but I saw some of they were all great. There was a lot of really great films. Um, that's what I tell everyone. I was like, when you go to festivals, you see so many great films. I'm like, you really can't take anything personal not getting into a festival because there's only so many slots and there are some amazing films out there. And many amazing films uh don't get in some of the other festivals. I'm like, where's this film? Where's that film? It didn't get in here. That's crazy. But yeah, that's how it goes. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Yep, yep. Okay, so what else? Any questions about the Oscar qualifying possibilities? Oh, I will say this too. You still, even when you get Oscar qualified, like we were Oscar qualified and we did the whole for your consideration, that costs money, more money. Okay? Because I'm sure you guys have heard about the whole Honora story, right? It was a $6 million film, and they paid $18 million for the campaign, for the Oscar campaign. Did you guys know that? $18 million for the Oscar campaign for Honora. It won what, 4 awards, 5 awards? Um, so it does cost money. Even for us, we had to choose. Again, we raised more money afterwards for our Oscar for Your Consideration campaign. Because the Oscars and the NAACP were kind of at the same time, we were able to combine the campaigns a little bit. Like a lot of our postings, we were posting for both. Vote for us for, um, for your consideration for the Oscars, and we're also NAACP, so we could sort of combined our social media posts. But as far as it costs $400 for us just to apply, um, submit for the NAACP awards. That's just the top tip of the iceberg. Then they give you all these categories where you can pay money to get uh, the nominating committee to see your film, or you can pay money to get them to send them a message, right? I think we paid, I can't remember how much, but we paid for to send out like a little clip of our film with me saying a little bit about it and asking them to vote for us. And that might have been like $1,500 or something like that, somewhere in that realm. And so we broke it up. You can also pay to send out emails, right? Um, and it's the same with the Oscars. Some people they had things that were like $40,000. Of course, we didn't do any of those. A $40,000 thing that you could do. They had things where for like I think we paid $3,000 to send out a email blast. We raised money in order to do that. And even when I was doing it, I felt like, what? This is a lot of money for this, right? But we felt really confident about our film, and that, so we just did it. But we did have to raise money for it. My producers actually helped with that. Um, so
Let's talk
there's
about this for a couple of minutes, Tamika, because there is, I mean, I see people going like, what? Wow. Like just the eye, like there, it is so expensive. This is an expensive career and passion, and it does take a lot of resources, to make
Yep.
it and then to publicize and get it. I am seeing more and more things happen like this with, well, the awards thing. You know, this is a business, y'all. People want to make money. People want to make money off of your creativity, off of your art. Even people getting walks, stars on the Walk of Fame, they have to pay $75,000. The actor themselves has to pay that. The filmmaker themselves has to pay that, right? It is a racket. But I am seeing more and more things. And somebody brought this to me one time and I kind of rejected it. They're like, hey, we would like to help filmmakers. We want to put a video package together. We can offer this for $500 to your filmmakers. Yeah, when they come to Brave Maker, we'll set up a camera. We'll give them 10 minutes in front of it. I'm like, it just felt dirty to me. I was like, no, I don't. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to take more money. We're going to give filmmakers a free headshot. We're going to give them, free reels. Like, I don't want to charge people for that. But there are some film festivals, and I'm not going to name names because we are recording this, but I can talk to you offline. You can ask me. There are film festivals that will have you pay up front a deposit to guarantee that you are going to sell 20 tickets to get butts in seats. And you don't get that money back if you don't fill that thing. That is out there. It is happening. Okay. It's happening in the Bay Area and it's happening in Los Angeles. I know that for a fact. So be aware of that. You can choose to do it. If you have the money, but I think there are better things to spend money on, like, when you're doing an NAACP thing, or I know SAG has this too. And like Brendan Daly, who was on our Brave Maker podcast, he said this publicly. So I'm not saying anything that's not public. He paid $1,500 to submit himself with a feature film that he did to get a SAG nomination, like for your consideration. You probably have seen those things, FYCs for your consideration. That is not free. People have to pay to be considered. So
Yep.
it's one of those things where it's like, man, if you cannot hang with the fundraising, getting the money, this is going to be a really hard career. And it's okay just to go, I don't want that. I'm just going to make films and put them on YouTube or get them into film festivals where I don't have to pay. That is an okay thing to do. It really, really is.
100%. 100%. Um, so let's see. The next thing I would say, I think we talked a little bit about this already, the proof of concept. If you have a proof of concept short, have your feature script ready to go, so that you can talk about that and start putting it out there to fundraise right away and give people channels with which to do that. You know, always give them how to reach you. Same with actors. Always tell them to follow you. Always tell them to follow you. Always tell them to, reach out to you through Instagram so that you can keep. And I'm not as, I'm not great with this. I'll just, organization is not my forte. I would like it to be, but stay organized. Stay, keep people's contacts in some sort of organized, and then reach out to them again, especially when you meet people who are, at companies and things like that. Stay in contact with people, maybe send a thank you after, anything. You never know how somebody might be able to help or support you. So keeping your contacts in order and staying in contact with them, even if just afterwards saying a thank you and keeping it moving, that will go a long way. Always say a thank you to the festivals too after you attend them. Same with the short. If you, whatever your next thing is, have it ready to go to talk about. Reviews on Film Freeway. I'm way behind on these. I have to literally take a day and go and review every festival that I've gone to. It's super important to write these reviews on Film Freeway, and I believe that the festivals do check. They do check to see who has written a review. Saving contact. Oh, this is great, Gabrielle. Yep, yep. So she's saying that there was a USC panel last week that was really helpful for that. When saving a contact, add a little description in the contact info. Yes. And this is something else that I've started to do so that I remember people because no one's doing cards anymore, right? Everyone has a scan code or something like that. And you can get all those scan codes in and then forget who is this contact? Who is this person? So if I meet someone directly, when I get their contact, I literally take a picture of them or I take a picture of us together and I immediately put it in so that I know who that person is because I will forget immediately after. So I always put their picture in there. If it's somebody that I want in my contacts, I take a picture and I know who they are. Um, Reviews. Oh, and if you don't have something nice to say about a festival and you still review it, just do it anonymously. So, but those are helpful to other filmmakers as well. Um, and then I was talking about some of the festivals that offer a little something extra. And I think these are always great festivals to go to. Sometimes they'll offer flights, sometimes they'll offer flights in a room, and sometimes they offer just a really good time. And that's valid as well, because a good time, networking, you know, it depends on what your budget is, but you might have to target which festivals you want to go to and why. I think I just covered organize, take notes, follow up, post. Okay, do those reels, take pictures. Even if you do one great reel from a festival, you can do that pretty easily. Take as many pictures and things as you want. Just try and cover the festival, make a reel about it, say something awesome and then you're done, right? You don't have to do a whole bunch of different posts. Um, I made a blog on panel do's and don'ts. Oh, yay. Let's do that. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm reading your notes. So Gabrielle, which thing is awkward? You said something is awkward for you. What is that?
Picture with someone and be like, "Hey, can I take a picture
Oh,
you'd save?"
but
But someone did it to with me last week at the Brave Maker mixer, and I was like, "Wait, this is actually so cute." So like looking back, it could be like, "Oh, that was our first memory. Like I met you at this place," and
yes.
especially if you, yeah, had a good time.
And when they know what it's for, it's like a cool little icebreaker. I have never met anyone who didn't respond well to, hey, I'm gonna can we take a quick, or I'll just say, can I take a picture of you so that I have you in my phone? And they're like, oh, okay. And they love
Yeah.
it. So I think it's kind of a good little connecting moment
Mhm.
there. But I understand when it's awkward too. But
It's just the
we gotta
initiation, but you have to
go.
like keep doing it to get used to it. So
Exactly. Exercise that get out of my comfort zone muscle. It's very important. Um, okay, so this is a list of, okay, why is it not going? I can't. Okay, let me do this. There we go. So this is a list of some of my favorite festivals. A bunch of stuff is not on here, and obviously, I've been to so many different festivals, and there are different reasons why I love these festivals. Brave Maker, y'all know. Brave Maker was such a surprise. It was the community, all the people were great, some really awesome workshops. Love Brave Maker, got so much out of it. I mean, there were so many different things. I love the iPhone one with Kina. Kina did an iPhone workshop. That was just super fun. All the stuff with roadmap writers. I just got so much out of it. Oh, the pitchathon. I wasn't even planning to do a pitchathon. I was like, what? And then I ended up winning it it was great. I just love Brave Maker and all the folks. So thank you for that. I'm a forever fan. Diversity in Cannes Short Film Showcase. This was really great and it was truly diverse. They had um, films from all over the world, an international, diverse festival. Fantastic. I met so many great people, saw so many wonderful films, and they also had some really cool programming as well. Plus, you have the added bonus of being in France during the Cannes Film Festival, and the festival director really supports you and making sure you can find a great place to be and giving you all the things that you need to know in order to have a good time and for the festival and can at large. Now the Rehoboth Festival was interesting. It was great because they paid for the hotel and they had some cute little things that they did, but it was a little bit far. Like you had to fly there and rent a car and drive like an hour and a half. So it was crazy getting there. But it was cool because, Rehoboth was what I got out, I feel like whenever you go to these little festivals or these quaint festivals, you're going to get something you did not expect. One of the things I got from here is I met a woman who put me in contact with Bond on Cinema, Ward Bond. Write him down, follow Bond on Cinema. He does all these great interviews for wonderful short films and features and stuff, but he does a huge campaign for these shorts during the Oscars. He did a 1 hour interview with me and so many other short films that he loved and all of the Oscar qualifying shorts he does interviews with them. So check him out, check what he does. Really supports the filmmakers. And that's where I got him put in contact with him at the Rehoboth Film Festival. It's like, okay, something really cool came out of that. Sindependent, they pay for your hotel, really nice community, have a lot of cool things that activities and stuff. So that was fun. Oak Park Black Film Festival. If you have a film that has some black folks in it or on your team, you can go to the Oak Park Black Film Festival. They pay for your hotel and flight, and it was such a lovely community. They pack the house and they do a wonderful Q&A on stage. They even had like a sing along, like this beautiful where the whole audience participated. That was a lot of fun. St. Louis International Film Festival. Look, now this was an interesting one. They're an Oscar qualifying festival. They will pay for you to be there as long as you want to be there. I mean, the hotel. So if it's a 10-day festival or a 2-week festival, it's like I think it might be like 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks. You can stay the whole time if you want to. They pay for the whole hotel, and it's a really they have two different locations. The one I stayed at was really cool because it was literary themed. It was really cool. I enjoyed it. It was almost like a little bit of a retreat as well as a film festival. Um, the only thing I'll say about that one that I wish it was a little bit more community activities. They had a few, but I felt like they could have done better with that. And I didn't get a Q&A, but we did do some stuff out in the lobby. And sometimes you may not get a Q&A, you may, I don't know how they make those decisions, but I did get a free 1 week stay, and that was bomb. So that was amazing. They also pick you up from the airport and bring you to the location if you arrange for that ahead of time. Imagine this Women's International Film Festival, really great little New York Film Festival, awesome venue and cool activities. The Tallahassee Film Festival in Florida. This was a surprise. The only reason I went to the Tallahassee Film Festival was because my producer lived there. And it ended up being the coolest little festival. This is also something that this is another thing that I would target. Find out people on your team, their hometowns, and apply to those festivals because you'll have someone on the team and you can tell the festival programmers that somebody on your team is, it's their hometown and you really want to screen there. That's also a good tip. Dances with Film Festival is great. They've been around for a long time and they really support independent filmmakers. And their directive is they're not one of those quote unquote Hollywood festivals. They actually want you to not have stars in your film. They want to be truly independent. So if you don't have stars in your film, that's actually a leg up for you for Dances with Films. Richmond International is my hometown. They're trying to create themselves in the like South by Southwest in a way because they have a music festival in tandem with their film festival. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of great activities. And then the Cleveland International Film Festival is just a well-run film festival that has been around forever. So I definitely would recommend that. Those are just some of my favorite film festivals. And I'm sure if you guys have more, shout them out, I know we're getting close, Tony. So I'm okay for a few extra minutes if everybody else is.
Awesome. Anybody have any final comments or questions that anybody has?
This was just so complete and so helpful. I'm right at this stage right now and feeling a little overwhelmed by it. So I just really appreciate I appreciate how detailed this has been. It's been great.
Awesome.
And if you could
Jacob?
share this with us too, we can make a copy and put it like in our archive with all the videos for replays and stuff too, Tamika.
Oh, of course, for sure.
Yeah.
Jacob?
I want to just say thank you so much, Tamika, for being here. It's been so cool learning from you. As Gabriele said, and Gwen said, you've done such a great job with putting this together. Like this is such a. I feel so inspired. I feel so like I feel more prepared also. Um, I guess my only question, kind of bouncing off what Gwen said, is when you are feeling overwhelmed or I don't know if you ever feel that imposter syndrome. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you ground yourself? How do you get yourself back in the zone and push yourself even further and not stop yourself when those like lies start creeping in the back of your head?
Yeah, and imposter syndrome is real. Honestly, I don't know if it ever goes away. I mean, I still feel it all the time, and I definitely feel it when I look at the blank page and go, "Oh my God, can I do this again?" It doesn't matter. You can win a ton of awards. None of that stuff matters.
Yeah.
But you have to just you believe in no one is going to be able to tell your story or a story like you can tell it. Just keep reminding yourself of why you do this and your passion for it. Just try and shut out the noise of judgment. None of that matters. You're doing this because you love it and you have a story to tell. It's not to win awards, right? That's really not why you're doing this at all. And we are all unique individuals with our own style and way of doing things. And I've said this a lot, and I will continue to say it. Perfectionism is poison. It's poison. Don't even, okay? That is, and it's also paralyzing, right? I think of our ability to create. We create something from nothing, y'all. That is magic. That is what we do as creators. Creating something for nothing, it's magic. So I feel like we can continue to make magic, but you must allow yourselves to make mistakes because that's how you learn. You cannot learn if you don't make mistakes. Uh, like embrace that as, oh, I'm about to go out and make this. I'm gonna make a bunch of mistakes and I'm gonna learn a lot, and the next thing is gonna be even better. It's fine. It's great. Please make mistakes, right? So make mistakes, make magic, focus on the magic, not on the mistakes. Let that, there is no such, perfectionism is poison and it's paralyzing. The people that I admire most were the people who kept doing stuff. It wasn't about how good it was. They just kept creating so that they could keep getting better. I've had to learn and I'm still learning. I don't have to have the perfect circumstances. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just need to keep doing it so that I can get. That's how you build your confidence, y'all. When you keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, that is awesome. Superman Doesn't Steal, all across the world. NAACP winning film and filmmaker. Tamika Lamison and Bravemaker selected filmmaker. Yes, we love it. We love to see it. And this is a 20-minute short, y'all. So let me just remind you, long shorts are challenging, but if it's dang good, if it's good, it will make it. All right. So that says a lot. We're at our time, but I want to also maybe share Dashiell's short film that he just did.
Yeah.
Shall we watch it? If you all have 5 minutes to stay on extra, we can watch
Yeah.
day 21. Let me pull it up and we're going to watch it here. Hold on a second. Day 21, which was the Easter Sealed Disability Film Challenge entry. So I think this is in a competition currently. So let's take a look at this and watch it. Here we go. It's just 5 minutes, 5 minutes long. Good. A short.
Hey Zach, what's up? How are you doing? I still have the house to myself. It's the same at my place. It's just quiet. Is it people like us? It's like we're the only ones left. Do you still have things you can cook? Peanut butter, garlic bread. I think I'm gonna go to the store. It is dangerous out there. Joe went out 2 days ago. We haven't heard from him since. Don't leave from your house. It's okay. It's really close. I'll cut through the school. I'll call you later. I don't know what to tell you, girl. Oh, hey, Sophia.
Hey, Dashiell. Do you still have the house to yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, good. It's Hanzai.
Hey, man. What is doing here?
I'm thinking of restocking my shelves today.
No, don't. Seriously. There's an SUV out there at my house.
Wait, I don't know. Who it is?
Did you see a person?
No, there's just a black SUV that wasn't there yesterday. You should go check at your house.
Oh my god, there is an SUV.
Wasn't there before?
No, I thought we were the only ones left. What do they want with us?
Do you think they're gonna test us? Like, experiments or something?
It wouldn't be the first time.
You should never go out there. Okay, they'll call you later.
See ya.
Come on, that was so good. Right
Thank
on,
you. Thank
Oh,
you.
Dasha.
good.
Yeah,
Yay!
this was a 5-minute film, and uh, we had no budget for this at all, and it only took 5 days to complete. And we had some certain objects and the locations to use, and I and the best part of it was just getting the really well-known people with Down syndrome involved. The whole process was a lot of fun, and definitely go watch it on repeat because there's there's a prize for the most views,
Ooh, okay.
and I feel like the more views I get, the closer I get to winning. So
All right. Well, we're gonna put the link in the chat for everybody. We're gonna encourage you to go watch it. We'll send it out to our
Yeah,
email list
email it out.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good. Thanks.
we'll email it out and really great job, great acting and editing, very impressive. And thanks to this group, you got connected to Zach, right? So Kelly, who just dropped off, got you connected because she's connected. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about what we're doing here. So thank you for letting us share it. You got 22 comments. I am adding the 23rd right now. So everybody else, go keep watching. Just play it on loop all day today. All right, thanks you all. Next week, session 47 is back with Becca. Becca's going to be pitching her feature, and we're going to be continuing to work on the making of baile. All right, see you all next time. By the way, if you ever have questions about what is happening on the mastermind, go to bravemaker.com/events. I have our podcast guests there. I have our mastermind guests. All that stuff usually is going to be updated there. Talk to you. Bye. See you.